Coming up on Look Today, well, Art in the Public Eye's 24-hour Play Fest took place at the Charles R. Wood Theater in Glens Falls over the weekend. I've got details. And Friends of IBA work to protect the endangered species of short-eared owls. More on that coming up. And Congresswoman Elise Stefanik returns from her congressional delegation trip overseas. I've got details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. In tonight's program I sit down with John Frank. Now, he's a commissioner of accounts for Saratoga Spring and he's here to talk about his vote against the special election for the city charter review process. I also sit down with Tony Garcia. Now, he's a public relations officer for the American Legion Post 233 in Glens Falls. He's here to talk about an important discussion and lecture on historical events that's happening this Wednesday, March 1st. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, Art in the Public Eye's 24-hour Play Fest took place over the weekend in Glens Falls. Playwrights, actors, and directors were given 24 hours to write a play and then perform it at the Charles R. Wood Theater. Well, 10 playwrights each wrote a 8 to 10 minute play on the topic of fame. We spoke to one of the participants, Chad Rabinovitz. He wrote a play called Fame Mixtape Side A.
We did everything from a play which was called The Cast Bribes the Audience with Famous Amos Cookies, where they literally just went to the audience and gave out Famous Amos cookies in exchange for votes, to Kelsey's movie makeover kit, where in 2 minutes we turned someone into a famous movie star.
Typical of Chad, a little out-of-the-box thinking there, Chad. We heard it was a lot of fun. In other news, well, the short-eared owls are currently endangered. To help prevent their extinction, Friends of the IBA are presenting a lecture on these owls at the Crandall Public Library in Glens Falls Wednesday, March 1st. Now, the lecture will be on the owl's behavior and ecology. Now, the Washington County grasslands are critical to the survival of the short-eared owls in New York State. Well, we spoke to Lori LaFond. She's Director of Friends of the IBA about this upcoming presentation.
We're going to be covering short-eared owl behavior and grasslands ecology. So I'm working with Dan Albano, an ornithologist with extensive grassland experience, and he's going to be introducing people to how these grasslands formed and basically the historical significance and the need for human management.
You can see the grasslands in the background there. When Andrew was out there today, he shot, and there was actually an owl out in the field, but it was too far away to get a good shot of it. But you ought to catch that lecture. Every time Lori comes in here, it's always very informative. All right, switching from news to weather. Today saw temperatures in the 40s. Let's see how the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. As we jump into the first look forecast, we did see some cooler weather move back in over the weekend. In fact, some of the mountains saw between 3 to 5 inches of some snowfall after a pretty warm week. Last week was good news for them. Another cold front still just laying in across the area. A couple warm fronts also steading out across the U.S. right now. Pretty mild forecast down the south. You can see 40 degrees in Washington, D.C., 37 Pittsburgh. We'll be right there on the cooler side of things with the cold front on top of us. Temperatures back down below freezing tonight with a low of about 30 degrees. Partly cloudy skies, also thanks to the frontal boundary, but also that wind doing its best to stay out of the south. If that front pushes a little bit further south, could see more of a north wind and temperatures a couple degrees cooler, but right now do expect to see that front retreating a bit tomorrow. That'll allow the daytime high to reach back up to 50 degrees. A few isolated rain showers out there, perhaps even an early morning snowflake as we head out the door. So that's what we could see. A couple maybe flakes, a couple showers, cool cloudy morning with temperatures out the door between 30 and 33. So keep the umbrella and jacket handy. We'll see a chance of rain sticking around through Wednesday, Thursday, both pretty mild days. In fact, once we get the sunshine out Thursday, We'll see a high of 60 degrees, but you can see then that north wind really starts screaming on in. We'll drop down to a morning low of 18 degrees for Friday morning, temperatures below freezing Friday and Saturday. So some mild weather for now, then some cold air moving in by the back half of the work week. That's what we'd expect. A bit of a roller coaster of a week temperature-wise lays ahead. Well, that's it from the Weather Center. Now let's get back to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Brent. Well, it looks like tomorrow out the door, 30 to 33 degrees with rain. Could be a little tricky, a little icy, so be careful. All right, back to the news. Well, we received information today from Congresswoman Lee Stefanik's office in Washington that she's returned from Japan and the Republic of Korea. She returned on Saturday. Now, she was on a congressional delegation trip that is required for all new members of the House Intelligence Committee. Now, as we told you last week, this is why the Congresswoman was unable to attend the public-style town hall meeting that was held at Crandall Library. Now, we will speak to the organizer of this town hall meeting, Sarah Carpenter, tomorrow. Up next, I sit down with John Frank. He's a commissioner of accounts for Saratoga Spring, and he's here to talk about his vote against the special elections. Now, this is for the city charter review process in Saratoga. I also sit down with Tony Garcia. He's a public relations officer for American Legion Post 233 in Glens Falls, and he's here to talk about an important discussion and lecture on historical events that's happening this Wednesday, March 1st. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Monday, so we do look ahead, see what's coming up this week. A lot of good stuff. Press conference tomorrow morning in Glens Falls concerning the hockey team, the Adirondack Thunder. So we'll have a report on that. And also this week we'll be interviewing Bridget Martin. She's running for mayor of South Glens Falls. We're going to get another tour of the Strand Theater, give you an update on that at Hudson Falls. We're talking to Commissioner Scirocco tomorrow, update on the Saratoga review process. And on Thursday, members of the Junior Committee at SPAC will be here to talk about the Saratoga Winter Ball, which is coming up. And of course, we get a lot of stuff in between. So, all right, tonight on Look TV, it's Tracks and Beyond the Headlines. We recorded new Tracks episodes yesterday, so stay tuned for that. And tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.